We're leaving Caldas de Reis at near the same time as we did last time a few weeks ago, but today is a market day.
That's not good for us to leave this late.
No. But the good news is we could buy a new pair of shoes if we need to, or about anything. I could buy a t-shirt for my daughter, a hippie shirt. I could buy flowers for my wife, but she would have to carry them all the way to Santiago. I could buy a blouse for my mother-in-law. Well, if this was 1970, it kind of has that hippie vibe to it. I could buy some legs. I could buy a dress for my daughter or a belt for my father-in-law. Oh yeah, Dalton. Or a matching jogging suit for my other son-in-law, Peter. You'd look great in that, Peter. Or I could buy my mother a nice salad. Who am I kidding? Nobody watches these videos. None of my family anyway. And we're passing the Roman bridge like we did a few weeks ago. I gave history on that in that video. It's a callback. But we don't have time for that. Last time we entered Padrón about 4 o'clock. We would like to beat that
And we don't want to carry it either.
No. Speaking of carrying it, here's today's lesson. You have to carry everything with you when you're on Camino.
Well, you don't have to carry everything. There's people that send stuff ahead, but not us.
Stop it, Gina. Don't be mean. So you carry your fears with you. If you fear that you're going to be cold, you're going to carry a coat with you.
I'm glad I have my coat.
It does get cold in the mornings. If you fear that you're going to have allergies, you're going to carry allergy medication. If you fear that you're not going to have a pillow, you're going to bring a travel pillow with you. If you fear that you don't have the right pair of shoes, you're going to bring another pair with you. If you fear it's going to rain, you're going to bring a rain poncho. It's going to rain, people. Some people think that they're going to go hungry, so they bring extra food. You don't need to bring extra food. You're going to find it. If you fear you're going to be bored, you're going to bring a book or things on your phone to listen to. Actually, early in the Camino, there are places that pilgrims stay where they just leave stuff like phone chargers, extra adapters, or even clothes. Like this jacket here, someone left in a donation box, and the box said, "Take what you want." And I have worn it almost every day. It's just the perfect light jacket for me. Which leads me to another lesson, which is the Camino provides, which we know God provides. But I remember on the last Camino, I needed a AAA battery. Lo and behold, I found one on the ground. And another time I needed a clip for my hat to clip the rain visor. Lo and behold, on the ground, there was a clip. A hat clip. And then one time Gina left her sunglasses in an albergue.
My favorite sunglasses at that time.
So the Camino provided for someone that needed sunglasses. So you're only supposed to carry 10% of your ideal body weight, if that. That's the maximum, including your water. And it's better to be way less than that. But Oreo cookies weigh a lot. So today's 2 lessons: travel light and just allow God to provide for you each day. Look at that, we ran into gold toenails here. Made of gold, solid gold. These are the people that we met last night, soaking in the healing waters of Caldas de Reis. So 2 lessons for today's Camino. 1,
travel light.
And number 2, God's gonna provide, or the Camino provides, as they say. So it'll work out.
Sometimes you wish you had a different form of transportation rather than just walking.
Yeah, well, Camino will provide, Gina. Oh my. This horse charges €1 to take pictures with it. If you pet a horse on Camino, it brings good luck.
Ooh. What if you kiss it?
If you kiss it, you get diseased. We will not succumb to the horse temptation. We walk to Santiago. I love this church with the pilgrim at the top. You always make time for coffee. Lemon, take a bite, take a bite. Lemon, whoa. Molly has made the last 30 minutes go by really fast, telling us scary stories of search and rescue. Thanks, Molly, thanks. That's a sleepy sheepy.
She's not giving a baby.
Or maybe it's a mama sheepy. Finally entering Padrón for the 2nd time. Woo! Oh, I lost it. So the spiritual variant now joins up with the coastal variant. So everything is the same, this last little leg into Santiago. If you're taking the spiritual variant, coming up this river is where the pilgrims are dropped off. 2 weeks ago, we were in Padrón, and I am so glad that we made it back because this city has some of the most interesting facts about the Camino that there is. This is where the church is, Iglesia de Santiago, Apóstol de Padrón, which in English would be Church of James, Apostle of Padrón. And possibly the greatest treasure in this church is the mooring post, or the stone in which they tied the boat of James to when they brought his body here. There are other treasures in this church, like this oil painting from the 1700s that shows the body of St. James being carried across the sea by his faithful disciples. When you see James depicted on a white horse with a sword in his hand, he's known as James the Moor Slayer, which comes from the belief that in 844 that he returned to help defeat the Moors. There's so much great artwork in this church related to the body of James being brought to this very spot before it's taken to Santiago. But even outside the church and across the bridge above the fountain, you can see the engraving of James' body being brought over here. And above that, you can see James baptizing the pagan Queen Lupa. She was the converted queen in this area, and he's baptizing her with a Camino shell. Even with this obscure fountain in another part of the town, you see the body of James being carried in a boat by his disciples to this area. But I have one more place to show you, and I think it's probably the most interesting place in all of Padrón, and maybe the second most interesting on the entire Camino. And it's a place that's so important to John Brierley that he used this location for the cover photo of his Portuguese Camino book. Right after crossing the bridge at the convent, you take a right down that road, then you'll see this sign here and with the steps on it, which there's a lot. We thought we were done, and then we see these steps, and Gina's like, what are we gonna go see? This better be good. Okay, many people that walk the Camino do so believing that the body of James, one of the sons of Zebedee, is in Santiago. So they're basically saying that, well, James arrived in Spain dead. But that's not the whole story. The most important part of the Santiago story isn't that James is dead in a cathedral, but that he was alive and he came to Spain to share the good news of Jesus Christ. And this is the place not only where they say his body was brought, but it's where he first stepped foot on the Iberian Peninsula to share the good news of Jesus. So I want to see that place. Camino shell lines the way. I don't know how much further. Gina just said you can drive up here, so I don't know if there's a road up here or what. Camino shell basin. I just read here that pilgrims used to climb up on their knees on those rocks, praying prayers on each of those steps as they're coming up to this area. They say that the location of this fountain is where the Apostle James would hide when persecution arose. For centuries, pilgrims would drink and wash in this fountain before approaching the location where James preached over 2,000 years ago. Tradition arose that the fountain was created when James struck the rock 3 times with his cane to quench the thirst of a woman that was kind to him. They call this building a hermitage, which is like a monastery for a single hermit. It's locked up, but there's a stone altar in there with an image of the Apostle James. His fingers in both hands are eroded from pilgrims rubbing them over the centuries as a sign of devotion. Today it's only open a few times a year, including July 25th, which is the Feast of St. James. But apparently it's the place that James chose to start sharing the gospel on the Iberian Peninsula. A statue of James the Apostle emerges from 10 rocks as he's positioned to preach the good news. The stone cross dates back to the 1600s. And as I said, John Brierley chose this place to be pictured on the cover of his Portuguese Camino book. So I think this is a must-see. So the reason this monument is here is because this is the hillside where James would preach the good news of Jesus Christ. And without that message of Jesus Christ, there would be no Camino de Santiago. It's all about the gospel being spread throughout the world. So it was James, one of those sons of thunder, that thundered that message of the gospel of Jesus Christ across the Iberian Peninsula. And the people of the Iberian Peninsula of Spain and Portugal, they're thankful that he brought the good news of the gospel to this area. That's why there's churches built and hospitals that have been established I hope that those that are walking the Camino now in this present age will realize the same message that James would thunder, which is that Jesus is the answer to whatever it is you're facing. Love this place. This is such a great hillside where you can imagine James parking the boat down there and coming up this hillside to where the crowds of people can hear him. You see, we just walked down a lot of steps, so you can see this hillside just goes on and on and on. It's almost as if he learned that from a guy that did this sermon on the mount. You know, he's like, hey, I'll do what Jesus told me to do. We almost missed this place because we were so tired the first time. So in Padrón, the stop right before Santiago, there's a lot to see. So that's all the cool stuff from Padrón. We head to Santiago tomorrow, so good night, everybody.